Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm James.
And welcome to the Cornwall Property Podcast, where every week we bring you the latest news, hot topics and guidance around the Cornwall property market.
Stay tuned to be informed, inspired and to have any of your property related questions answered by trusted local property professionals.
Welcome back. It's episode 38 of the Cornwall Property Podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And we're here to inform, educate, inspire you guys to get involved with property with a particular emphasis on the Cornwall property market. So thanks for joining us if you are coming back, and thank you for joining us if your first time is here now with us. So we are here literally. There's a big housing crisis in Cornwall. We're trying to not only educate you guys on property, keeping you up to date with the market, as well as the regulations and updates and legislation and things, because it is a bit of a minefield at times. But it's also trying to educate you on how can you possibly get involved with property? How could you help this Cornwall housing crisis? And you get in touch with us and we'll hopefully help where we possibly can.
Absolutely. And to all our viewers and listeners, thank you for all of your lovely feedback. And just as a gentle reminder on how you do that, you can go to cornwallpropertypodcast.com, go onto our front page there, scroll down to the bottom and you can get in touch with us that way. But as many of you always do, go onto our social media platforms such as Facebook and just reach out to us. And we're ever grateful for all the comments and involvement you have with the podcast. So thank you.
Definitely so. So today's episode, this is our market update episode, whereby Dan and James, myself and James, will be simply just identifying a couple of articles that we've spotted in the news over the last week or so, and they've caught our eye, and we think, it'd be interesting to have a little chat about, really. So we'll also be looking at later in the show, bear with us, and we will be sharing our picks of the week. So these are properties. I pick a commercial property that is currently on the market, and James picks a residential property that's currently on the market, and we're looking to give you ideas and suggestions on how we could possibly bring these properties back to the market for local housing, essentially, because there's a big demand for that and a requirement for that. So my first article this week is from landlordtoday.co.uk, and again, all of the show notes will have the article links in them as well, so please have a little gander at those if you need to. But the one that caught my eye, and it's not a surprise, I don't think, James, I don't think you're going to be surprised by hearing it, but apparently Rightmove has confirmed that bills included has become the most searched for term for renters. So with everything that's going on with the cost of living at the minute, there's no surprises there. People are trying to say and trying to cement and fix their bills as much as they possibly can, and rightly so. So the most popular search term from prospective renters sourcing Rightmove properties and scouring Rightmove has become bills included. So the portal has said that this term, which was only the 6th most searched for term a year ago, has now overtaken other keywords such as like pets, gardens, garages. So bills included is a very, very in demand term being used, and I do not blame them. We have properties that we offer as bills included as well for renters as well, don't we? And they are flying off the shelf just because people want to be able to fix. They want to know what they're paying week in, week out. Exactly that, bang on. Security is the one. So it's no surprises there for me, James. I doubt it is for you.
No, it's a shame the market's gone like this, where people are just having to get like an all-inclusive package. I think once upon a time people were a bit more cherry picky where they wanted to live. I know I've spoken to many people in Cornwall that would rather not be in a sort of city kind of in Truro, for example. They'd rather be in like a lovely little village hamlet that's close to the coast, but I don't even think that's on the cards. It's just somewhere that they can literally afford. I mean, even if you're as a couple, there is only so much that you can afford for the rental. And most people would give a bit of an allowance. Let's call it maybe sort of £200 to £300 for bills per calendar month. But with everything going up at the moment, I think people are more concerned that they take on a property and they then have to hand in their notice because they can't afford to live there. Or even if they're purchasing, they can't, they can just about scrape the mortgage payments, which, let's be honest, they're not exactly going down in price at the moment. And with inflation and cost of living, I think it is a shame. And some people will miss out on their first rental property or their first property of where they actually would like to live. They're actually now being forced to, we've got no choice, but we have to go for a property that's here and not have that sort of dream first rental or purchase, which is a shame. But that's the market we're living in at the moment. With the
interestingly as well, they actually do, in this article, it has actually mentioned that the actual search areas that people are looking at, where you could say that this postcode plus a mile, but they've actually doubled the area on average. People are doubling the search area now. So bang on exactly what you said. People aren't finding where they want to be, so they have to kind of compromise, and they're compromising in the area in which they're looking now. It's now doubling in size. So Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's no surprises there. But again, alarming, but I thought it's just one worth bringing to the table. Second article that I am going to be bringing is actually from Rightmove, the news section of Rightmove itself, and it's how house prices have fallen for the first time in 2022. So this year is the first time the house prices have fallen. But I think if you actually read this article now as well, it's actually not as alarming or concerning as the article and the headline makes out, because you read the headline, you think, whoa, okay, what is going on? Is the property now dipping? Is it now dropping? The market going to crash? Well, actually, it's not a surprise. And the article goes on to say that it's August summer holiday season. It happens. People are not buying as much in this type of the time of the year, and as a result, people who are needing to sell are lowering their prices as well. So it's the first year that many people have been able to actually get away. So again, it's going to be a little bit bigger than probably a previous August lull in prices and things. But what this actually has to do with prices, more home movers tend to put off moving until they come back from their summer holidays as a start. And as a result, fewer people are looking to move during this time period. So there's less kind of demand during this time of the year. So it's no real oddness into this. So the average asking price of a home in Great Britain fell by almost £5,000. So not masses, but this is a general drop of about 1.3%. So this is actually on par with the average August drop over the last 10 years. So again, the headline makes you think, alarm's going, property's crashing. But when you start actually looking at the data, there's nothing to be alarmed about. It happens. And this little drop is the same as it's been for the last 10 years. There's always a little drop around August time. So yeah, I thought that was a bit worth educating you guys. If you weren't so familiar, if you're a bit worried by that article or you've seen others, don't be concerned, because essentially it's happening. What will be a key term will be what's the price looking like in the next couple of months after the summer.
So I think demand's slowly starting to come away a little bit. I think you make some good points about the people waiting till they come back off their holidays and stuff like that. But I think with interest rates rising, people are sort of thinking, do we actually really want to be getting like a mortgage now? Like, people know there's going to be a few more hikes. I mean, that's the general consensus. And let's see, taking a look at this year, 2022, there's been hike after hike, and there's more hikes coming. There's no doubt about it. I can confidently say that because the banks are already talking about it after just having one. But I think people might be thinking, well, those mortgage rates might come down in a couple of years. So why don't we just put off buying, for a couple of years and then see what happens then? And people are thinking, will the property market come down a bit? Maybe we get a better deal in 2 years. So people are just holding and they're staying put. But time will tell. But it's no surprise, but especially in Cornwall as well, because prices have just gone nuts over the last couple of years, and it had to stop. And in previous episodes, we've talked about the plateau, kind of like they're not dropping yet, but they are just about, they're at their peak. But maybe now is that time where we are going to see a bit of a dip, and that doesn't surprise me. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a dip, so I'm not concerned.
No, I'm not concerned. I was going to say exactly the same thing. I'm not too worried by this. If anything, it's just a little bit of people are just still trying to assert themselves, get their confidence in it, and I don't think there's enough stimulus yet to see prices go up again just right now. But yeah, I'm not concerned. I don't think anyone else should be right now. But it's good to know and be aware of, I think, is the key there. But James, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I've got a couple of headlines which I found on mortgagestrategy.co.uk. Just remember, for all the viewers and listeners, that all the links are on the podcast notes here. But one that caught my attention was tenants staying put as rents surge, and this was a report by Propertymark. Some of the points in here are: a shortage of housing stock is forcing renters to stay put, with 73% of letting agents saying that they have seen an increase in the number of tenants renewing contracts over the past year, according to Propertymark. The rental market is seeing a surge of tenancy renewals as a lack of availability properties. Sounds a bit familiar down here in Cornwall. And this means that many tenants are preferring to stay put rather than move, says the estate agents bodies in the July private rented sector report. I don't think that's any major surprise, and I think that's similar to people that I've spoken to here that are renting at the moment. People are too scared to, what if they handed their notice and they can't find another place? Are they better off just staying put where they are at the moment? Because what if they handed their notice and they can't find anywhere else? Any thoughts on it, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's a safe, no surprises, but it's a safe move, isn't it? People know what they're doing, they know what they're getting where they are. If they're happy, unless there was something drastically going wrong with where they're currently at, or maybe the landlord's trying to sell or things like that, I can't see why people would want to move, essentially, unless you're trying to relocate to somewhere completely different. But no surprises there. Again, you know where you're paying, you know where your bills are. Maybe by entering a new contract, it gives you that security of paying. You know what you're paying for that period of time. Because obviously we're talking about the white paper and things like that previously, where you're going on to rolling tenancies, whereby in essence there's less security for tenancy if that was to happen, because the landlord could essentially increase the rent any time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And the article followed on with a couple of points. Was the Propertymark chief executive Nathan Emerson says the private rental market continues to be battered by the perfect storm of high demand, low availability, and affordability issues that shows no sign of easing. That's what we hear all the time here in Cornwall. And this shortfall between supply and demand led to 82% of agents reporting month-on-month rent price increasing in July, a new record for the body which has 18,000 members. And I don't think that is completely landlords being greedy just because they can. I think that is honestly because there's a proportion of those landlords that may have come to the end of their 2 or 5 year fixed term and they've now signed up for another 2 or 5 years, but the rates are more. And as often, where does the buck get passed to? The tenants. So yeah, it's not surprising most people are staying put at the moment. And it'd be great to hear from the viewers and listeners, what you guys are doing, who's renting. Are you guys thinking the same thing, or are you thinking about moving, or do you think you'll just stay put whilst you've got a decent rental amount? So yeah, we shall see on that. Okay. Second and final article I've got today was from a report from a mortgage broker, LMS. Majority of July mortgages fix for 5-year fix in July, and we've been banging on the drum about this, haven't we, Dan, for the last few episodes, about just if you can get a 5-year or 2-year, even longer than 5-year fix, get it put in now, just because the rate rises. The article goes on to say the proportion of remortgages taken out on 5-year terms was 70% this July, says LMS. This compares to less than half being taken out for this length of time a year ago, says Chief Executive Nick Chadbourne. For the 54% of borrowers who increased their loan size this summer, the average monthly payment has increased by £226, which, for a household, that's a lot of money. On top of your gas bill's gone up by £200 per month in some cases, depending what gas you're on with its, gas bottles. I know gas bottles are so expensive down here in Cornwall; they've gone through the roof. So it's tight, really, really tight. The article goes on to also say the most popular reason for a remortgage, LMS reports adds 35%, was to release equity from a property. The majority of those who locked into fixed rates in July plumbed for 5-year fixed products to hedge against rising interest rates. But we might well see their popularity drop in August as people wait to see if rates will drop again towards the end of the year. Again, similar to what I was saying earlier, but I don't know, my own opinion, James's opinion here today on the podcast, I can't see the rates coming down anytime this year. I think they'd have to be revalued by early next year for me at the earliest
and again,
point.
Just similar, we're not mortgage advisors, we're not financial advisors, so do your own research and speak to your professionals. But in my head, I'd be like, I think part of me would want a 3-year fixed, maybe. Like 5 years feels like a long time. I'd like to think where we're at now, within 5 years, I'd like to think it'd be come down quite a bit again. Yeah. But maybe 3 years' time, I think that's kind of like a good kind of period where we're at. So the interest rates we're at now, we're seeing probably, we're doing our figures now on 6-7% interest, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We go for our mortgages.
Of course, that's sort of buy to let, different to residential.
Commercial as well. We're doing it within a company. They're not on our personal names, but yeah, I reckon another couple of years at this, 3 years, I think. What are your thoughts? You're the kind of finance guru out of the two of us, I suppose. But in my head, my gut's saying, well, I probably want to fix like a 3-year because it gives us that little bit of flexibility.
I think that's sensible. I think 3-year would be again, as Dan says, we're not mortgage advisors, but I can only just see the jumps that have happened have been sort of personal mortgages. Mine was up for renewal. I was quite lucky really at the beginning of 2022, and I was getting sort of 1.8%. I mean, now standard residential mortgage, even on good loan to values, you're looking in the 3 to 3.5%, and that's quite meaty. And again, monthly payments
double
are
jaws,
higher,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I personally would, I think 3 years is good because you don't want to time to 5 years. Then 3 years time, then they've dropped back down to the late 1 point something. So yeah, I think 3 years is probably where I'd be as well, Dan. So yeah, good mark there.
Interesting. Well, guys, I hope that's helpful. We're going to share our property picks of the week. So if you're viewing on YouTube, you can obviously watch us in real time. If you are obviously listening on audio device, obviously once you've finished driving or whatever you're doing, obviously please feel free to have a look on the show notes, and you can have a look at the Rightmove links that we're going to take you to now. But my property is a commercial property in central Truro, and this is actually a property that James and I looked at, and we liked it. We just wasn't really going to work for us, wasn't really going to fit with what we wanted. And I think, yeah, it's a good opportunity though for someone that has got some time on their hands. It is a derelict. Well, it's going to be derelict if it's not already. When we viewed it, it was a printers company in there just finishing up and closing up. So the landlord is not wanting to release it out. He wants to just sell it. And so yeah, it's an big empty building, big empty block, just at the top end of Truro, just up by Malpas. And there's no views really as such, but it is a nice big lump of building where you could easily convert this. They've got a planning application in currently to convert it into 4 apartments. Again, they look like they could be nice apartments, nice 1-bed apartments. It could be good, could be nice. But yeah, definitely one that I think could be a great opportunity to bring some property to the market and make a little bit of cash on, if for the right person. That's definitely for sure. But again, what you're going to need for this, you're going to need a planning consultant, just to kind of make sure that all the planning is in place and everything you want to do. You might want to make some amendments to the plans, perhaps. Surveys need to make sure they're being done, and obviously make sure you do your numbers locally as well, just to make sure you're safe. But again, this is on with Martin & Co. Will, who you would have listened to hopefully with us a couple of episodes ago as well. He is the agent for Martin & Co. So feel free to give Will a shout, and he'd be able to tell you a little bit more about this place. But yeah, offers in excess of 400,000. And yeah, they're currently awaiting planning, so there's no planning there at the minute, but it's going to be sold with vacant possession. And yeah, it would be an opportunity there.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got some good space there. I think it always just boils down to, everything at the right price. It's been on a little bit of time now, 1 week, I think, roughly, maybe 2.
Maybe a couple, I think, yeah.
But it's, I think it might just be a little bit too expensive to make the numbers work. But again, as Dan said, it does depend what your model is. It might be quite a good flipping opportunity to buy it, develop it, and then sell all the units off if you were to do flats there. But I think there's definitely opportunity. And, as always, it's a derelict building, and it can provide homes, and it's doing nothing at the moment. So yeah, still is an opportunity there.
Sure.
I've got something on slightly a more smaller scale. Residential property of the week here is Vivian Street in Camborne, which is TR14. It's a cottage here on 160,000. It's a 2-bedroom mid-terrace house in need of some finishing off, as the particulars say. Accommodation briefly comprises of a light and airy lounge, kitchen with doors leading to the garden. On the first floor you will find the family bathroom and 2 bedrooms. Outside you will find an enclosed garden with a block-built storage shed. So from looking at the pictures on here, it is a little bit dated, it's a little bit tired, but in terms of refurb, I don't think it's actually too brutal. I think it's in fairly good order, and it just needs some love and attention. But I don't think you need to spend a huge amount of money to bring this back to its former glory. And yeah, I think 160,000 is fairly honestly priced, and yeah, I think you could add some value here. Dan, any thoughts?
For sure. I like it. I like the numbers. I like the number. I haven't done any research in Camborne in regards to what top whack values would be when finished, but it doesn't look like there's been too extensive work to be done. Things like the hard bit, the rip out, they've sprayed everything white, to be fair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And giving it a little bit of a freshen up as such. But no, definitely, I think it could be a nice, easy. What is nice is because this isn't as grotty as others that we've shown in the past, it could obviously tick up a few more boxes because it's a bit easier to visualize what it could be for either an investment property or someone's first home or second home even. But no, yeah, like it. It's a good property. Wouldn't take too much. You've got all the basics in place. It might be just a case of just finishing off as it says. So yeah, 160,000 floor plan. Can't really see where you can add much value other than decorative.
Yeah. It was added on the 30th of June, so it's not sold yet. So I think there's probably a bit of scope for coming in a bit lower than that with an offer where you could add even more value. I think. But again, I did have a look and can see on here that it's been empty for a little while as well. So again, these are properties that I just sat there. I know we keep harping on about it, but it's empty and it could provide for a small family, it'd be a lovely little home.
Definitely get in touch with Miller Countrywide Camborne for more details on that one. So guys, thank you so much for your time and for joining us. If you've got any questions, you know where we are, but please do get in touch. Let us know your feedback. Please like the podcast wherever you listen to us. Share it wherever you possibly can. We'd love to get more people on board and listening and trying to help get this message of the Cornwall housing crisis and the issues that are around it and surrounding it out there to as many as we possibly can. And of course, get in touch with us.
Absolutely, and you can do that by going to cornwallpropertypodcast.com and scroll down to the front page there where you can message us or go onto our social media, which many of you do, as I always say, on Facebook. And just a big thank you from us for always getting in contact. Without you guys, we wouldn't have the show, and we love getting your questions and all that type of stuff. Just get involved, and we're here to help if we can.
Definitely, and we'll be back next week with the Ask Dan and James podcast, where we are answering 2 more listener questions. So, get in touch. Chuck your questions at us and we'll do our best to help. So thank you. It's a goodbye from me.
And that's goodbye from me. Take care, guys.